Welcome, everyone. Oh, and wouldn't you know, Justice Oracle Treehouse says it's Friday already. Wasn't it just Monday? Yes, yes, it was. Today, arousal equals action. We touched on this yesterday in group coaching. Arousal equals action. Before you think me cheeky or naughty, ponder it for a moment. All you do is ponder it for a moment, and you will see that arousal equals action. Now, use the law of correspondence as above, so below. If we humans can recognize that arousal equals action, something has to move you in order for you to act. If we see that part on the physical level, well, then raise it to the above, which is psychological, which is mental. So something has to move you mentally so that you will act. This is how the law works. Neville Goddard terms it as the thing felt is the thing experienced. We call it triggers because we're fancy. We call them triggers. If you notice, the trigger arouses you. You see, when you hear the word arouse, you want to think whatever you want to think, but put it into context. Arouse just means to stir something up, wake it up. You know, that's what it means. So, what is it in your world that stirs you up, that arouses you? What are you allowing to do that to you? Are you the one doing it from the inside, deliberately? Or are you observing what you're doing on the outside and allowing the external unwittingly to move you? Are you living from the inside, which means you are creating deliberately your own experiences? Or are you just unaware that you're the one creating the experience? And you think because the experience is happening on the outside, it's happening to you instead of happening through and because of you. Either way, something aroused you and caused you to act. Now, the way you act is going to show you your state of arousal. What state are you in? Well, that depends on how you interpret the word arousal. If you take it as its base, as its raw human, you know what I'm talking about. Well, then, how are you going to act? Well, based upon that state of arousal, we all know how we're going to act because we're all here. We didn't just come by way of stork. All of us have the same entry into the world. And in order to have this entry into the world to be born, we all have to be aroused. Hmm? For some of us, well, don't think about your parents. Anyway, I digress. So, what state are you in? Angela, this is a dead horse. You're beating it. No horses were harmed in the making of this video. Is it a dead horse? How many times did you have to remind yourself which state you were in yesterday? Did you even stop to figure out what state you were in before you acted? If you can tell me that you did that and you lived from that place yesterday, 100%, well, then we will continue to beat this horse. The purpose of telling it to you day in and day out is so that you will get up, you will be roused to practice. We learn differently. If you learn by way of observation and you can see your behavior, well, then you can trace that back and you'll find the state that you're in as to why your behavior is the way it is. You'll see it. Why is that important? Why is that critical? It is critical so that you and I can be the determining factor for the experiences we want to have. We're not just willy nilly through life being tossed to and fro. No, we have deliberately set the sail. That's what we've done. So today, what is rousing you? What's rousing you? If you pay attention to yourself, instead of allowing the self to just react to things, popping off, you'll see your state and you'll develop discipline. And it's far greater. It reaches far greater than you and I can currently get our minds around. Remember that line in The Gladiator? What we do in life echoes in eternity. You think that was just a clever line? It is law. Why? Because you and I are immortal. We only wear a physical form. But you see, if you take the law with you wherever you go, whether it is this life or wherever the spirit ends up, you're ahead. You are ahead of any situation. You take the law with you. So we're always in the presence of the law. It doesn't matter where we are physically. We're always in the presence of the law. It's almost as if you want to give it a personality. It's like it's all around you and you're swimming in it. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. That's what you're doing. And it's the law you're swimming in. That's what we're doing. So when you begin to recognize what rouses you, you will see the thing that drives your life. And when you see it, you will be gentle and kind with yourself enough to say, oh, snap, I've fallen out of the state I want to be in. Let me go back to it. What would it be like if? What would it feel like if? And as soon as you start to be aroused by that question, what would it feel like if I were the man or the woman I want to be? Bam, you're back in the state that you want to be in. So you've just moved yourself mentally from where you were in the undesirable to where you want to be in the desirable. Now let's break it down by way of correspondence. If you're fretting and worrying about how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Do I have enough? Oh, you see that state? A state of lack, a state of worry, accompanied by bloating, indigestion, constipation, heartburn, constant sighing. Well, you've got to see the physical evidence of what you're doing mentally. And that's what worry does to you. Loss of appetite or an increase of comfort foods. Just all depends on the state. But if it's worry, then the habit you have trained yourself to do in your state of worry is what you'll do. So that's what the state of worry looks and feels like. So if you catch yourself there in that state, how am I gonna? Is it? I don't know what to do. As soon as it touches you, pay attention to it. It's not where you want to be. So then to get where you want to be, okay, wait, what would it be like if I had more than enough? What would it be like if I didn't have to count all the time? Do calculations in my head. Okay, I can cut from here and pull from there. Oh, barely scrape by, eke it out. What if I didn't have to do that? So what would I do instead? And you begin to see in your mind's eye and to act out in your mind's eye what you would do. There's something you would do. You'd buy a bigger bag of whatever it is in the grocery store. That's what you would do. Well, then you see the feeling of doing that, that relief of doing it. As soon as you feel that, you are in the desired state. Now, how many times in a day can you feel that desired state? And how long can you sustain the arousal? And if you'll notice, if the arousal lasts more than 4 hours, consult your doctor. Um, you'll notice that the arousal has an ebb and a flow to it. You'll notice that, don't you? It will come and it will go. Yes? That's your cue to comprehend that weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. There's a natural ebb and flow. And if you allow it to happen, you'll see it. You will see it for yourself. And you'll be able to catch yourself and change on a dime. Oh, undesirable state detected. And you slide right into the desirable state with a simple question. What would it feel like if? What's the first thing I would do? What's the mood that I would be in? And remember, a mood can create a thing, but a thing can create a mood. Cause and effect. You might not be able to name the mood, but if you know what the mood feels like, you'll bring about the thing that causes the mood. But it comes down to you and I being aware, which means you've got to know what you're feeling. You've got to know who and what you are and the space that you occupy. Because most of us, what's that fancy word they call them? NPCs, non-playable characters. Lights are on, but there's nobody home. Totally unaware. Remember, we were all like that. And Neville reminds us we're kind of sort of awake when we deliberately apply the law in the world of Caesar. But there will come a time when you actually awaken. But you can't rush it. Nobody can rush it. It just happens. Just like when you go outside, atmospherically, certain things happen which cause the snow to fall. It happens, right? Life happens. That's why he tells you to get into the state. And the thing in that state has no choice but to happen. Not because by might or by power, but by spirit, which means you just put yourself in the desirable state. And all the things that go along with that state unfold for you, period. That's why he keeps saying you don't have to lift a finger to make it so. It's not that you don't take action. The action that you take is mental action. And from the mental, once you are aroused mentally, well, how else are you aroused? You might want to tell me, but Angela, I feel a stirring. Well, listen, so do I. But it does not happen physically first. The next time you are in the throes or you feel yourself entering the thrones of arousal, pay attention to where it happened first. And you will comprehend the law of correspondence and how to use it. You will recognize, oh snap, the physical. No, the physical is responding. It is the imaginal that is causing. And the way to know what is being caused is to observe the external effect. As within, So without, as above, so below. Every time. So the next time, as I said, the next time you are in a mood, if you'll notice, it happened within you. It happened within you before it happened on the outside of you. And so if you can see it there on the physical level, go up a level to the mental and recognize for all of your other arousals that it has happened within you. And because it happened within you and it was so strong, you had to act or behave according to what moved you, which would be your state or your mood. There are no coincidences, no happenstances. There is a cause, there is an effect. There's an effect, there's a cause. But because we are walking through life unaware of our mental influence upon the world around us, we think things are happening on the outside. So here's your test then. Here's your test to test on the physical realm, because we're physical, right? Let's get physical. Sorry. We're in the physical realm. So test it. Pay attention to what happens to you pre, mid, post arousal. Pre arousal, something is stirring you up. Mentally, it is. Mid, well, you're going to do something about it, aren't you? And post, how you feel. And if you notice the way that you feel at the end, well, my dear friends, you can feel that at the end first, and you will bring about the cause. We can reverse engineer with the law of causation. I trust today that you can see past the tongue and cheek. Okay? I trust that you can see past that and come to the understanding or the knowledge of how it actually works, what we're doing on a daily basis. If you can grasp that, and it seems so simple because it is. But you see, we take it for granted. It's just something that happens, isn't it? Oh. It's just something that happens. You don't have to, not by might, not by power, but by spirit, don't you? See, it just happens because of the state that you embody. So grasp it today that nothing is happening outside of you first. It always happens inside of you first. The universe is a mental creation, which means your experiences and my experiences happen from the inside out, right? That's where they happen from. So the next time you find yourself wanting to pop off and smack somebody, remember that window between the trigger and the way you act. You have time to catch that and rein it in. Of course you do. You don't have to force it. You don't have to force it to pull it back. No, you just see it for what it is. You're like, oh, snap. That's the state I'm in. Let me pop into a different state. Instead of popping off, pop into a different state. Well, right. Move from, you know how people say, well, they chose violence today. It's only a state. Choose another state. You see, We have more control than we think we do. We walk around and we're like, oh my God, I'm so weak to these things. I'm so susceptible. No, you're not. Not if you become aware of that space between the trigger and the way you act. If you, because we always feel it. Law of vibration is always at work. Everything moves, including thoughts and feelings and emotions. They move, energy in motion. It's vibration. So when you feel the vibration, don't do it, Angela, don't do it. Goodbye. When you feel the vibration of the thing, is it what you want to feel? Because you can feel it creeping up. You can feel yourself as you breathe life into the state that you're embodying. You can feel it. And not what I want for you, but what you should want for yourself is to be aware of what you're feeling. But Angela, that's a lot of work. No, it isn't a lot of work. You know what's a lot of work? Cleaning up the mess afterwards. Prevention is better than cure, which means if we become disciplined, we can avoid creating problems, thus having to solve them. Listen, we want an easy life, don't we? We want that princess or prince life. Sprinkle, sprinkle. That's what we want. So here's the way to get it. Feel the space between the trigger and the action that you take. It will clearly show you the state that you are in, and it will give you enough time to repolarize yourself and say, whoa, whoa, wait a minute. What would it be like if I did not choke a bitch today? You see how much time that is? For you to say, and you'll contemplate, well, I don't have to get bailed out. I don't have to go before the judge. You know what? I'll choose that, please. I'll take peaceful life for 200, Alex. That's the space. You have enough time to change from where you are to where you would prefer to be. But if you are like some who give in and fully commit to the trigger, if you're going to fully commit to it, then commit 10 toes down. Because when you come out, don't say, why did this happen to me? Why does this always happen to me? It's your fault. No, no. No, 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 no. You take the good and you take the bad and you take the indifferent. You own that. Don't complain. Repolarize. Give yourself the opportunity. And this is what discipline actually is. Being able to repolarize yourself, to put yourself in another direction, meaning put yourself in the state you want to be in instead of being governed unwittingly by the previous state. It's the surest and fastest way of reprogramming your body deliberately. And the very fact that you know it and now you are aroused to test it out for yourself. As Marjorie always reminds us, it's those little creature comforts throughout the day that really make the difference. We think it's quote unquote the big things. No, it's the little things. You want to have a great day. A great day means you drive through traffic and it's smooth. You get all the green lights. You get the ideal parking spot. Somebody pays for your stuff and you pay it forward. Listen, all those little things make the day go great. But they come when you become aware and acknowledge what mental state you are in. That is what happens. That's what happens. So, what are you going to do today? Hmm? What will you do today? Will you pay attention? Or you're just going to follow along like a horse with a bit in its mouth or the bull with a ring in its nose? You see, we all think that that's what life is. It just leads us somewhere. No, life happens. We live it, don't we? But we live by way of the state that we're in. That's what happens. So, notice now that you're free. You think freedom was harder to accomplish? No, freedom is not harder to accomplish. The moment you recognize what you're doing, you're free. The moment you recognize what you are doing, you are free. Think about that for a moment. What would make you free? The recognition that, oh my God, I am in control. I get to choose what state I'm going to be in. And whatever state I'm in, well, that's how life will unfold for me. That is freedom compared to, I'm just at the mercy of life. I just go where the current leads me. No. This is why when scripture says to you, you've come to have life and have it more abundantly. That's what they're talking about. What is the abundance? The knowledge and how to apply it. That you and I are the operant power, the captains of our ship, the sovereigns of our universes. I'm in my own universe, clearly. Clearly. But you're in yours too. You're creating it as you go along. And the very fact that you know that now, and you're bold and brave enough, brazen enough, to dip your foot in the pool and try it out. Mm. And you'll find that you won't just dip that toe in the pool, Lord have mercy. You will immerse yourself in it. Uh-huh. See how freeing that is? Indeed it is. So today, my beautiful friends, test it for yourself. Pay attention to what causes you to become aroused. Pay attention. And you will see that it is mental. But you see, it happens in one beautiful motion, doesn't it? There's no delay. There's the mental arousal, physical action. Mental arousal, physical action, cause and effect. It is a beautiful motion. It doesn't ever break. It doesn't break. But what you're doing, if you want to speak in terms of principle, of law, what happens is you can neutralize. There's a rhythm, right? Cause and effect. Cause and effect. There's a rhythm. And if you notice the cause, you can rise above the cause, meaning you can neutralize it. You can suspend it for a moment to make a change. And then the action continues. Cause and effect. All you're doing is redirecting, changing the cause. You can't stop cause and effect. You can't stop the rhythm of it. But what you can do is neutralize it. How? By catching that space between trigger and action. That's what you're doing by way of law. You're catching yourself to say, whoa, 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 I don't want to do that, but let me do this. You don't even It is such a split second of a thing where you acknowledge, no, this instead. That's how quick it is. But what you've just done there is neutralized. You said, wait a minute, let me change course real quick. Course correction initiated. That's what you did. And you just neutralized the law of rhythm. You just suspended it for a sliver of a moment. Almost like, in the Matrix when Trinity, she's in the room and she jumps, she does the thing and then she kicks. That's what we do. That slight suspension, that slow motion. You slow it down a little by just moving yourself in another direction. You don't stop it. You just change the cause so that the new effect can occur. So the next time you're out and about and you catch the space, pull a Trinity. Pull a Trinity. Shoot, you can pull a Neo if you want. When he's on the rooftop with her and he says, Trinity, a little help. And then the agent starts to fire at him and he just bends. That's really what you're doing. When you catch yourself in that small space between trigger and action. So, my beautiful friends, today, test yourself and so you can see for yourself what you are made of. Test yourself. Test your mettle. To see what you're truly made of. And you will notice that out of this, oh my God, I'm more confident. Well, damn right. Did you have to go out there and sweat for confidence? No, confidence happened to you because you saw deliberately the evidence of your arousal and what it made you do. And now look at how confident you've become. Look at how much your faith has grown. And here we think that we got to practice our faith. No, you're not practicing faith. You're practicing being deliberate in your life. And faith comes as a result. But I wonder faith in who? I suppose it's the one doing the thing, isn't it? Who is? Oh, you. See? I want you to feel that power as it courses through you today. Everybody is seeking to be, what's he say on the Matrix? Well, what do men with power want? What do all men with power want? More power. They've completely missed the true meaning of power. Your true power comes with the ability to repolarize yourself in the twinkling of an eye. That's your true power. But we think power means, no, you do my bidding, bow to me. What? That's not power. That's tyranny. Actually, it's cowardice. You see, the golden rule is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But we, for some reason, think it is do unto others before they do unto you. See, there's a big difference. The only power required is the power to control one's own arousal. That's the power. I don't have to make you do my bidding. No. I simply assume the state of the wish fulfilled, and the bidding happens. Not by might, not by power, but by spirit. You never have to force anyone to do anything. Anyway, I trust today that it makes sense to you. Hopefully I wasn't too dramatic for you, but you've been with me long enough to know that I always wax dramatic. It's just the way it is. That's my nuance. I'm reading the chat here on Fanbase. Bear with me. Of course. Yes, Delight. That's what we're doing. Always allow yourself to be aroused by that question. What would it feel like? Ooh, what would I look like driving that new Mercedes? What would it look like if I paid all my bills on time and in full? What would it look like if I made the most beautiful breakfast or brunch? Yes, allow the question to arouse you. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I know as you ponder. Flo smiles. Yes, happenstance is a word, a real old one, but it is a word. It is. And if it wasn't, it is now. Right? Yes. And here, yes, delight, when you feel the vibration creeping up, because you can feel it. It's palatable, or it's palpable, is the word. You can actually feel it. If you pay attention, you feel it. Right? It is, oh, delight. You know I love you. She says, she's bringing the scripture today. She says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. See that part? To renew the mind? What happens when you have a book at the library, you want to renew it? What do you want to do? You want to take it out again. You want to repeat it. Renew the mind. Renew. Do it again. Do it differently. Extend more time. This is how you look in terms of the library. But now use correspondence to bring it up to the mind. It means this thing, let's trade it in and get a new one. But what are you trading in? The habitual groove or habit or thought for a new one. But it's not just a random new, it's in the same nature as the old. Oh, they're not different. It's the same nature. They just vibrate at a different rate. That's how you can tell the difference between what is acceptable for you and what is unacceptable. They feel different, but they're the same in their nature, acceptable and unacceptable. So when you renew the mind, you're giving yourself the opportunity to see it from a different angle, a different perspective, a new awareness. Ooh, what is good and acceptable and perfect? Yet, Romans 12, verse 2. See? It is, it is a beautiful thing when we recognize what we are instead of going along with what you were told that you are. And here's the thing, remember that line is like a splinter in your mind. You know there's more to you. And that thing that you know that you are, you, if you pay attention, you can feel it being combative with what you were told that you are. I remember when I was taking up a pineapple in the store and I caught a sliver. Oh, God, worst feeling ever. And it was in there for most of the day because I was out and about. And let me tell you, oh, just to bend that finger or do anything, oh, I was well aware of that sliver, that splinter in my finger. So when you say to yourself, wait, I know there's more. Transformers, more than meets the eye. Yeah, there's more to you and you can feel it. And it is coming up against, no, this is all you are. No, this is all you are. It's coming up against it. And there's that internal thing. But today you've been set free. Of course. You think, let me tell you a little secret. You think that when you go out into the world again, that you're not going to remember to pull a Trinity or pull a Neo? You think? You listen, some of you may even go so far as to say, neutralize. Let me rise above this. Oh, look, there's that space. You think some of you aren't going to say that? Oh, yes, you will. I can, as I sit here, I can tell you that you'll do it. Because now you know. Oh, you might try. You might think you'll forget it, but you know you will remember. How do I know you'll remember? You know that you'll remember. That as soon as you see, oh my God, there it is. There's that space. What do I want to do? What do I want to do? And you'll remember that you're calm in that moment when you recognize the space and you say, ah, yes. What would it feel like if I did this instead? And you'll do it. And when you do it, you will feel yourself in the new state and you go, oh my God, I just moved myself from that state to this one. Holy cow. You'll do it. Oh, how do I know? Because I know. Because once you've been set free, my darlings, you don't go back. Or you might be tempted because the old habit. But then you will look upon that old habit and you'll say, oh, I know you, honey. You're just the old way, and it's okay. And you'll gently pat it because you're going to give it a personality. And you'll gently pat it on its head because it's got you around the ankle, like that stubborn child. Please, mama, stay home. You know how these kids can be. But you'll gently pat it on the head and say, everything is all right. I see. I know. I comprehend. You're just the old way, clinging. But that's all right. Everything ebbs and flows. And it is your time to go, isn't it? And it will vanish. Why will it vanish? Because you have now removed your energy and your attention from it. Because why? Well, you pointed yourself towards the new habit. That's what you've done. And when you catch yourself doing it, a smile will come upon you. Oh, it won't just come on your lips. That's where you'll see it, but you'll feel it in the core of your being. That warm smile, and you will shake your head and say, I just really moved myself? For real? I just did that? I just changed the course of my arousal? For real? And you'll become emboldened and you'll say, let me do it again. This is what it is. See? Really? Delight, really? Different strokes? There you go. Listen, let me welcome everybody. I lost Twitter a little bit ago, but they will find the replay, not to fret. Who's here on Facebook and YouTube? Checkmate is in the house. Asanya, darling. Jeff is here. Sun says mental arousal equals physical action. Indeed. Renee is here. Anot is here. And for the others who's not made themselves known in the chat, I see you. Who's here on fan base this morning? Sagittarius. Hello, darling. Happy is in the house. Lala. Hello. Summer Rose. There's something I haven't said in a while, sweetie. You know I've missed you. Mansa. Flo smiles. Fawn is here. Afternoon Delight is in the house. Joaquin. Shea Butter. Oracle Treehouse and KZ. You're all here this morning. Remember, pay attention. Be deliberate in the way that you live your life. Be deliberate. And listen, when you start being deliberately, you will find that your interactions and the way you come across people and meet people, you will notice that that has changed. And it changes for the better. I just said better, but where is the better man? It changes. Why does it change? Because you have changed. That's why it changes. Because you have changed. You have. You'll never be the same again. No, it's onwards and upwards from here, my beautiful friends. And any kind of a fear that you had has now diminished to such a degree that you will notice, wait a minute, this used to scare me. You will notice that and you will remark upon it, that what used to scare you no longer has any power over you. Why is that? Did you have to fight the fear? No, darling. You just became aware to move yourself from a state of fear. And once you move yourself from the state of fear, you're no longer influenced by fear. How can you be? You're no longer in the state. Whatever state you're in, remember, it influences you to act. So when you move yourself from the undesirable state, you will no longer act undesirably. So notice how the law makes things flow so beautifully and with ease. Yes, with ease. That's the kind of life we want, isn't it? Well then, be deliberate. And you will notice out of that, discipline also emerges. Listen, the law is showing you today that you don't have to chase anything. You don't have to chase it. Get in the state and it happens. Oh, but Angela, that's too easy. You want it to be more difficult? The law is about simplicity. It didn't say that the Lord rubbed two sticks together. Nah, he said, let there be light, and there was. The simplicity of it, the ease of it. We are meant to have that experience of ease. But get into a state of ease. If you're continually or habitually in a state of conflict, why would you be surprised if you encounter conflict on the outside? You see, that is the power of that space between trigger and action. And I've already told you what you'll do. I've already told you. And now that you know what you'll do, well, you won't be able to help yourself. You won't, because you can see it now. And because you can see it, you go, oh my God, there it is. You can't unsee it. And now that you know what it is, now that you know what to do, you'll do it. Why? Because you want an easy life. And finding that space in between there and knowing what to do with the space, your easy life happens from there. You don't have to force it. Anyway, as we hear the bowl this morning, you might get bird song. I don't know. You might. As you hear the bowl this morning, allow yourself to simply feel. Just soothed. Just be soothed. Like if, the baby's there and they're looking at you and you're looking at them, for mothers, because this is the most palpable one we have. And if you aren't a mother, maybe you got a fur baby. And sometimes you don't have to say anything. You just pet them or you look them in the eye, they look you in the eye, and both of you are soothed. Or if you're in the garden and you can smell your roses. See what that does to you right there? Oh, see how soothed you are? As you hear the bowl and you allow yourself to bring up that sensation of being soothed, be reminded that that soothing has not been stimulated by anything on the outside of you. That soothing comes from the very fact that I am free. But your freedom, that's why you're free. You're no longer held captive. You are free. And there is a joy that comes with freedom. It's not fabricated, it just happens naturally. So as you hear the bowl, allow it to simply happen naturally for you this morning. If you are driving, then driving is your only concern. You can always do this exercise at your leisure. Let me get the bowl. I gotta see what I'm doing. It's a little bit dark, but let's get it. Oh no, really? YouTube can hear the bowl. Countdown initiated. What's happening there? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. YouTube and Facebook, much love to you. I will see you tonight.